Okay, today we're going to take a look at creating an exam in Blackboard and some of the things you want to look at when you set up the test options. So the first thing you want to do is decide where you want to put your test. So if you have a course information folder, if you have weekly folders, you can put it here. Just for the sake of argument today, I am going to put it in the test and quizzes folder. So there are many ways that you can build your test. You can create your test first and then put it in a folder later. I usually like to put it in the folder that I know where I'm going to have it in. So it just saves me the trouble of remembering to move it to the folder where you want it. So I put it in my test and quizzes folder, or I put it in one of my weekly folders. If your test is week 1 or week 2, put it in the week 2 folder so that students can do everything in that week folder and their test is there. So we're in the test and quizzes folder. We're going to go to assessments. We're going to select test, okay, because we are going to create a new test. We are going to select create. We're going to name it. So let's just name it quiz 1. And here you're going to put in the description of the test or instructions. So, answer all questions, whatever instructions and directions or descriptions you want to put in the exam, you can put it right in here. So once you put in your instructions, click submit. Now it takes you to the test canvas page. This canvas page is where we're actually going to create the exam. This is where our questions are going to be built. So we have the options of creating questions, and you can see all the different types of questions that you can create: multiple choice, fill in the blank, essay. Here you also have a choice to reuse questions. So if you've created a, a pool or a question block, or if you have former other tests in there, you can pull questions from that test, from other tests, and put it in your um, test you're giving now. So let's start from scratch. We'll create a question. Just to let you know that multiple choice, fill in the blanks, true and false, Blackboard will automatically grade it for you because you're gonna provide the answer, so they will do it. Essay questions, short essay questions, short answer questions, everything else you have to manually grade yourself. So let's do an example of an essay question. You don't necessarily have to put in a title, but in the text box here, this is where you are going to put in your question. So we'll put in a question here, and then you can put in the answer here. Now, every time you put an answer in here, students don't see it. This is just for you so that you can see the answer when you're grading. You don't have to put the answer in here, but this is just a spot for you. If you want to add rubrics, you can. Um, it's really good to start is to use these categories. These are good so that when you do your final grades in Blackboard, you can move the categories over, and we'll have other uh, videos and assistance for that. So you can leave that blank for now. And then if you have any notes that you want to remind yourself of when grading the question, you can put these instructor notes down that only you can see. So that's one question. So if you have other questions, you're going to say, if you have other essay questions, you will click submit and create another. That means you're going to create another essay question. If you're going to change the style of question, you're going to click submit. And when that does, it takes you to the test canvas page again, shows you your question, and it gives you the opportunity to create another question. So let's create a multiple choice question. Again, you don't have to put the title. Here you will put the question, and we will put the question here. Very simple question. So now your options, so you can number your options as 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. And so these are your options that you would have for your multiple choice questions. Um, the orientation is whether or not you want to have it straight down or across. It's up to you however you want to present it. If you want partial credits, you can show the answers in random order so that each question, the answers are random. So A for one student wouldn't be choice A for the other student. And then you can have the select the number of answers. You can't change, you can't go any lesser here. What you can do is you can actually remove a choice here. So if I'll put my answers here, because these are where the answers go, and make my choices. So if I only wanted 3 choices, I can remove the 4th one right here. So I'm only going to have these 3 choices. Okay, so it actually changes up here. So I only have 3 choices. So once you put in the choice, then I think I actually, once you put in the choice, the most important thing to remember is put in the answer. So if you look here at the side of the text box, there's a radio button. So you select the radio button that corresponds to the correct answer. So the correct answer is white. Click the radio button so that Blackboard knows that that's the answer to the question. So once you have put in your question, given your options, and then put in the answers, then again, if you have another another multiple choice question, click submit and create another, or if you're done, click submit. And we're going to click submit. Takes us back to our Canvas page. So here are our 2 questions. Now, if you want to change the points, you can either change them over here and put in different points for each question, or you can change all points here and then check off all the boxes and then click update, and you see it changes the points for each question. If you need to go back and edit the question, click the chevron, select edit. Okay, so you have the option to edit your questions. Once you're finished creating the exam, scroll down, select OK. Okay, so now you've created your test, click submit. You haven't done anything yet because now we have to set the options. So the options is where you make it available. You set the time and date parameters. So this will take us to our test options page. So again, you can put in the content link description so that when the students see the exam, they'll see some more instructions. So here you can be redundant. You can put in the instructions again or the descriptions again. Always set to open in a new window so that if anything goes wrong, if they get shut down, at least the test window is open and Blackboard is still open. So they're 2 different windows. So always open up in a new window. Always make the test obviously available, even if you're not setting the test to happen immediately. So if you want that test to happen next week, you still need to make it available. So you can also add an automatic announcement that goes out to the students that the test is either available today or it's available tomorrow. Multiple attempts. Now, since we're giving these exams remotely and they're not, they're not here, we don't see them. I like to give them at least 2 attempts at the exam, only because, and this differs widely. Let's say they're the first attempt, they go in and something happens to their internet connection or they time out or something. They can't go back in and start up again. They'd have to contact you. You'd have to give them the opportunity to, you have to exempt the attempt, and you'd have to give them the opportunity to start over again and take it again. If you give them another attempt, they'll have another attempt to go in. So it's up to you whether or not you want to do that. So if you want multiple attempts, you just click on number of attempts and then just put in 2. And then you'd want to keep it as score of the last graded attempt. That's the score that they're going to use. Forced completion, I usually don't click this because you can have it where you can set the timer and auto submit. So if you set the timer and the test is, you give them 120 minutes to take the exam, and you put the auto submit on. Once that auto submit is on, the test will save and it will submit the answers automatically when that 120 minutes is up. So it'll automatically submit. So you don't have to worry about them getting extra time unless you've given them that. So once you've done that, then you can actually set the date and time parameters. So what this means is that the test will be available. Let's say the test will be available on Monday, and it'll be available at, let's say, 10 a.m. and it'll be only available until, let's say, Tuesday at the end of the day. So this test will be available to take between Monday at 10 a.m. and Tuesday at the end of the day. But within that time, they only have 2 hours to do it. Okay, so it's going to be available to the students. They'll see the exam between 10 a.m. Monday and 12 midnight Tuesday. Once they start, they only have 2 hours to take the exam, and then it gets submitted. Once 9:16 at 12 a.m. hits, the test will no longer be seen by students, so they won't be able to take the exam. If you want to give a password for the exam for students to get into, you can. It's your choice. Test availability and exceptions. This is used for students who need extra time. So you just click the add users and group. You'd select whatever student that you want to have extra time, and then give them the extra time. It'll look just like giving them, you know, if the test is 2 hours, you got to give them 2.5 hours. You just give them the extra half hour. And then you set the parameters the same. All you're doing is giving extended time. If you want to set the due date, you can. If you set a due date, you'd make sure it matches the date where it's going to be due. And then you have the option, and then, you know, you can set the do not allow students to start the test if the date is passed, but they won't be able to do that anyway, because you have set the date restriction so that once September 16th hits, they won't see it anyway. So it's kind of redundant. So you really don't need this to click this. You can click this if you don't have this set, and if you've given them multiple attempts. Everything else you can keep as the default settings. You want to include the test in the test grade center calculations. If you're not going to put it in, if you're not using this test to grade for their ultimate grade, uncheck that. But for the most part, if you're using the test for their grade, then keep this box checked. Do not check this box. This box is, if this will hide the results from you and the grade center. So you won't be able to see the grades, and it cannot be reversed. So honestly, I don't know why this box even exists, but just don't click it. Totally make your life easier. So the feedback. So if you want to have your students see all the correct answers and all the answers they submitted, you would check the boxes. So they're going to see all the answers, all their correct, everything they submitted, the feedback that you've given them within the exam. And if you want, you can show them the incorrect questions as well. If you just want to show them the incorrect questions, and you would just uncheck that and then check that box. You have the option of, if you want to have the grade after they submit it, show them the grade on a specific date. If you want to show the grades when that's due, so that's September 16th, or after availability dates, or if you've given multiple attempts and you want to show them the grades after everybody has 2 attempts, you can do that. Usually, you know, we just keep it here after submission. So when that last, when they do their exam and they submit it, and when you grade it, they'll be able to see it, you know. And usually you show them, definitely want to show them the feedback if you're leaving feedback on incorrect questions, or if you just want to show them everything after the exam, you can show them all the questions and answers. Test presentation is just showing if you want to show all the questions at once, or you want to show it back, show it one question at a time. You know, this is here. It's not suggested for them to use the back button in Blackboard anyway. You know, but this is prohibit backtracking. So if you don't want your students to go back and change answers, you can choose that. That's up to you. And then you have the option to randomize the questions for each test. So question 1 for John won't be the same for Mary. Once you've set up all your options and you're happy with that, then you click submit. And if you do something in error or you don't add something, you'll get a message like this. So I know I didn't put a start date. I know I put the start date later than the due date. So we'll go up here and the start date is here. So we'll put it available today. And the due date was checked. So once you're happy with that, click submit. And there's your quiz. Your quiz is now what's called deployed and it's ready to go. And then now students can see it. If you had it set for a future date, you would have a date saying that it'll be available at a future date. And let me just do that now for you. So when you want to change the options, click the chevron, select edit test options. And then, so let's change the date so you know it's in a future time, so I can show you what it's going to look like. Let's say it's just going to open up on the 14th. We're going to click submit. So now you see it's been deployed, but it's not going to be available until the 14th at 10 a.m. So September 14th at 10 a.m. it will become visible to your students for them to take the exam. And when it becomes visible, they will click the quiz. They will see your description and your directions, and they will begin the test. And they will have them there. They will have the question. They'll put their answer here, and then they will answer their question right here. So once they do that, then you will be able to see your students' responses after they complete their tests. They'll be able to see it in the needs grading section of your grade center. So once everybody has taken their exam, you'll go into the grade center, select needs grading, and here, once the students do it, you'll see their students' names and the quiz. Click on their names are going to be hyperlinked. Click on the names, and then the test will pop up, and then you'll be able to grade the exams right there and submit their grades. This is how you create an exam in Blackboard with some of the tips of setting up the test options. If you have any questions, you can always contact the Department of Online Education and Support at onlineed@jjay.cuny.edu. It's ONLINEED @jjay.cuny.edu.